I feel we might be getting in over our head here.
Ready, Watcher.
At least for the moment.
Sure.
If this is a cult that exists underneath the town, or sorry, the village of Deerford, I'm going to see if anybody else is aware of this. Plus the fact that I do believe we need to rest. I had no idea that we were getting into something major here. I take it the Tanner was just... Turgo was just there as cover. What else could he... this could also have another opening. Possibly leading outside the village itself. Interesting thought. I'm going to at least talk to the nobles about this.
Your own father sold you to the Brotherhood?
He hated me anyway. I was glad to be gone. The Dukes are my parents now. The Republics, my children.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Sorry to hear that, Pelagina. We have some
Welcome.
loot. I found the dragon's egg. She had just one of her bandages. Anything else I can do for you? I've got some handy ointments if you're braving the roads anytime soon. Hylia's feathered tits. She clasped her hands together, wincing at the pain. How'd you manage that? I found the nest you spoke of. Hope those worms didn't give you too much trouble. Let's see her then. She cradles the egg with her good arm. Amazing. Not a single crack. She runs her bandaged hand across the shell. She hefts the egg into the back of her wagon and rummages among her shelves. Here, take this. She drops a stack of coins and a parcel of ingredients into my hands. Everything you need to brew a good, strong pick-me-up. Should come in handy with the kind of scrapes you seem to get into. She leans closer. And come see me anytime you need potions or ingredients, alright? I got a special place for friends. She winks. Earlier, it sounded like you knew something about Elise Haran. Any chance you'd share it with a friend? She was so queasy she didn't even notice Turgo's odor. She tugs at a bandage. I wouldn't normally say anything, but that girl was with child. Couldn't have been more than a couple months along. I tried to give her some herbs to end it, save her trouble with her old man, but she wouldn't take them.
Greetings.
Oh, that's something new then. Farewell. Well, it's midnight. Who's this? Hello? This middle-aged peasant woman is dressed in a brown leather cloth draped down to her knees. Her hands are working at separating stringy, colorless vegetables in a pile before her, stripping the heads of the long, fibrous stems with a paring knife. She discards the stems one by one, placing the heads of the vegetables into a small cradle-like basket in front of her. She doesn't greet me as I approach. You're not even sure she knows I'm there. Excuse me? The woman doesn't respond. She keeps stripping the heads from the vegetables with a steady rhythm. She may be deaf. There's no indication she heard me. I'm going to study the woman. At first glance, she seems nothing more than a middle-aged woman. Unremarkable, maybe less stern than most, who seems more focused on the weaving in her lap than her surroundings. Yet, I suddenly notice that she's not stripping the vegetables before her any longer. She's weaving, and the vegetable pots are now missing. She still pays me no mind, her brown locks torn and snagged from a lack of washing, like many of the townsfolk I've seen. There is a strange blur to her. Even the motions of her hands seem to be playing with threads that lack color, in a shape that lacks interest. It may be that she is half-minded, or deaf, but something feels wrong. As I watch her, her knitting takes on an odd cadence, and I have a terrible suspicion that something lurks beneath what my eyes are showing me. Focus on the woman. Her brown hair is long, almost impossibly to the length of her hands. As I follow the stream of her locks downwards, her hair has become long and black, splitting off into threads of black and silver, and wrapping around her hands. She is forming a soul cradle with the threads, braiding a net in front of me, each finger long and sharp like a series of knitting needles, almost hypnotic. The silver and black strands of her hair weave together, with silver predominating as a highlight, the black shadowing it. And suddenly I am calm. I'm on a plateau, almost the height of a tower, several stories high. The plateau is like a table lying beneath a clear sky, and beneath the plateau, surrounding it in all directions, a forest, hazy with mist, although whether it is actual mist or distance or a recollection. Resting in the curve of a natural arch above me is a great copper bell, half again the size of a man, hanging at attention, as if looking down at me and the event unfolding before me. The plateau is soaked in the sun, and the rock beneath me is rough and warm. The sky forms a cradle around me. I feel different, not disembodied, but I feel my body. My physical contours have changed along with the surroundings. And I hear a soft series of chimes, like wind chimes. At the sound, the scene gains color and texture, as if the sound is beckoning me forth, filling my senses and thoughts like mist rolling softly into a sealed chamber, and focus on the chimes. The chime coaxes me deeper into the memory, and I'm certain it is a memory, a warm one. I'm on the stone on the plateau, my knees on the warm texture of the ground, silver, white, shimmering like Adra. The plateau is formed of it, glistening in the sun. I can feel the heat of my skin, my wrists, and my hands. My hands are in motion. Weaving, not thread, but gathering, tenderly moving along the first movements of Barath's wheel. My hands are wet. My hands are upon the flesh of a newborn child, and I can feel the crowning of a tiny head, turning it in my grip, its head slick, wet from the womb. The hands I am wearing, inhabiting, have done this many times, and they are practiced and confident. I can feel distant pains in my own head as the head emerges. A stream of fluid from the womb helps the newborn slide forth, and a woman's labored breathing crying out. Focus on the child, the movement of my hands. As my hands move, I hear the sound of chimes, clear, cutting through the haze of memory. I cannot see where they are coming from, but they are close, and they are meant as a comfort, of that I am certain. Draw the child forth. And coaxed by my hands, every movement causing the chimes to sound again, almost eagerly. The child comes forth, and as it does, my hands are in motion, weaving, moving along the length of a soft, wet rope, no, an umbilical cord from the legs of the naked woman before me. I am holding a small child, still wet from the womb before me. The child cries out, its cry full of life, full of soul. The ringing of chimes echoes in its thoughts, filling it with its welcome. The soul is blurred at the edges, as if I'm viewing a soul from within a soul, but it is there, it is live. The woman before me is weeping, and at her first cry, her hands reach out for it. Surrendered the child. I surrendered the child to her, something I have done many times before, and as my hands move, the chimes echo the movement, and I realize the chimes are hanging from cords at my wrists, and where once they echoed a memory, they are now echoing in the child's mind as well. The chimes are intended to welcome the child, to be its first gentle greeting into the world, a soothing sound guided by the tender motions of my wrists. I am helping to weave its thoughts, its perceptions, and the experience. The woman laughs with a ragged joy, laughing from a parched throat. Her emotions seem soothed, but the physical demands of labor have left her exhausted. But the child is here, the child is safe, and all atop the plateau is peaceful, calm, distant, flattening out as the memory persists. Slowly pull back, retreat from the memory. With effort, the scene bleeds of color, and my mind becomes my own again. There is no pull, no anchor, yet the sound of the chime remains. As they existed in the memory, they sound here as well, and they are hanging from woven braids on the wrists of the woman before me. Even as my head is spinning from the touch of her mind, the sound of the chimes on her wrists are sharp and clear, as if coaxing me back to the real world. The woman still sits before me, but she is nothing like what I first saw. She is wearing black, shredded garments that drape over her form like streamers. Her hair is streaks of black and run through with silver. Her age is almost impossible to tell. She simply feels old, like a crumpled watchtower. As she lifts her head to face me, I see that her hair is draped across the front of her face like a veil. What I first saw of her was a mental glamour of some sort, unconscious, and I realize what I saw is not what the world sees, and I am perhaps the first to see her true self. Still, I don't sense a threat in the realization. If anything, I feel a sense of relief from the figure. I can hear her thoughts, and she is glad to at last be seen. Who are you? I am seen, but the eyes of others do not remember. You are the first to see me as I am, the cull stripped aside. There is a light touch on my mind, a caress, and her left hand mirrors the motion of the touch, reaching up in the air between us. I hear the chime on her wrist sound. Softly her hands move as if pantomiming, resting on my cheek at a distance, and she speaks slowly and softly.
Your memories. The
cadence of wheels on a caravan track. Fever. Questions by running water. Violence in a night's campfire. Arrows in the dark. And fleeing. Falling rock and cracking stone. And a storm. The storm. The storm that brushed you. Did its screaming wake you from your mind's cradle? Your memory of it is painful. Its cry is difficult to ignore. It's like a child. Many children crying out.
I encountered a bivouac. Yes, and it did do something to me. Her hand withdraws shyly, the chime sounding softly once again. The woman stands uncertainly, as if she has been sitting for some time or is too weak to bear her own weight. I notice her cheekbones are tight, her face gaunt. Yet while her stance is weak, she seems determined to stand before me.
You are able to see me.
It is almost a question. I suddenly realize she doesn't seem to know what I saw when I looked at her, the image on the plateau, yet the image was so clear, so sharp. I'm surprised she didn't feel me there.
To see me is a rare gift. A watcher's gift.
It felt like a pathway between our minds, but strange, gentle.
So many questions, thoughts, whirling like storm winds. That storm still roars through you, deep beneath your thoughts, yet muted and secret, like an underground river. I cannot tell if it is carving new channels, or eroding what keeps your true strength buried. The fact that you could hear it at all, survive it, is something few have ever done. Your power will grow stronger with each soul you touch, as it allowed you to reach out to mine.
The more I reach out to, the stronger my soul grows. My power will grow. There is silence, and although it seems to last for but a heartbeat in our thoughts, it stretches out between the two of us, like a pull between our minds. I blink, take a breath, and then I realize she wants to ask me a question, yet can't form the words, as if assembling them is painful, or there simply are not enough pieces. Assemble the thought. Do you wish to travel with me? I feel a wave of fear, gusted with the strength of relief, although oddly her expression does not change. Then fear dissipates, and I feel strength and certainty, as if the plateau from her memory lies beneath me, and a calm sky looks down upon me. She wants to come with us. I don't know what you can do. I'm tempted for Durance to head back at the moment. He's our only priest. Okay, Aloth.
Farewell.
Go back to, well, hang around the village for a little while, for a few days, and if we still have no need of you, you can go back to Caed Nua. What can you add to our group? And what is your name? I'm gonna call you the Grieving Mother, since you really don't have any name, Spirit. Strange that you're able to take physical form now that I've seen you. But you're a cipher like me, so stand back and use your crossbow. Now, we have to go rest, as odd as that might be with a spirit with us. What is this building down here? Windfrith's Arms and Armory. Well, we'll have to go there tomorrow morning. Still here, I hope.
Yes. Have you news of Alice?
He twists a silver chain around his wrist. I have no news. I know that Ogre didn't take her, but I'm still looking for her. Well, he's not exactly happy with the delay.
Gods keep you.
Okay, let's stay the night. What rooms do you have? Make sure you close your window if you're on the side facing Turgle's shop. Yeah, especially now. Assassins or cultists climbing up through there. How about this? We'll stay in the dragon's lair. It's fitting after what we just went through. Alright, we've got a bunch of cultists to clear out, and I've enchanted my sword. It should be a lot more powerful now. Darkosi Paladini's longsword of Inclan. Maybe Pelagina. Pelagina knows what that means, but I don't know what it means. Before we go, I'd like to look at the armory. Maybe there's something even better that we can run across. And maybe we should talk to Turgle. Or, sorry, not Turgle. What was the name of that fellow that lost all his pigs? That was Winfrith? We still have some pigs. I guess he's missing quite a few, but... Rumbald. That was his name.
Gods keep you.
Any sign of that ogre? Or its head? I convinced the monster to leave. You won't be seeing him again. He balls his hands into two shaking fists. His face starts to redden. But that son of an Orlan whore! That thing devoured my entire herd. I want it dead, and I want it to mount its head on a pike. The ogre is no longer your problem, that's what matters. Takes another long, deep breath. You're right. Here, take this for your troubles. I shall look on the bright side. The ogre's gone, and I can start rebuilding my herd. He crosses his arms and looks at his piglets. In another 6 months, these will be grown and ready to breed. Although... He takes one of the pigs and gives it a quick examination. This runt's still looking too small. I don't expect to get any good litters out of it, and I'd just as soon not have it weaken the rest of my stock. Why don't you take it? Gives me one less mouth to feed, anyway. The piglet trots over to me, its pig snout wiggling. I don't really want... I have my hound following me. I don't want a piglet. I might just sell the pig, actually. Now, let's go to this armory. I've actually heard tale the metals that they use here are quite good. Meaning, he should be able to provide me with good quality weapons and armor. You know, you're Winfrith, that's remember.
Hello.
A portly, smiling man stands behind a warped wooden counter, polishing a buckler. He looks up. Haven't seen you before. Always glad to see a new face in town. Company is good for business and chatter's good for the soul. That's what I always say. Anyway, what can I do for you? Well, I'm looking for a woman named Elise. That lord's got you asking around too, eh? He grunts. Elise asks politely enough. Bad enough having a small army move into town, but then they start throwing their weight around, telling you your business. Shakes his head and he clucks. That's the problem with these lords. They think their money and their family name entitle them to some kind of special treatment. They expect everyone to fawn over them the way their servants do. No, sir. That's not the kind of people we are. Not in the Durwood. We broke away from Aedir to get away from that kind of nonsense. If they think... I can certainly understand why you feel that way, but at the moment just looking for his daughter. Of course, I was just getting to her. He clears his throat. I haven't seen her. Not since she went missing anyway. She mostly kept to herself. He shrugs and wipes at the buckler again. But you know how women are. Always carrying on, full of palaver. Once you get any two of them together. Perfectly harmless, mind you. I'm not criticizing. I just feel like they never run out of things to say. That girl seemed rather quiet. Downright shy, if I do say so, but even Hendina got her talking. Just goes to show you. Oh, Hendina, she's the one that sells the herbs and has the hurt face, right? Yeah, she's an alchemist, runs a small stand near the center of town. Talented lady, but she had a run-in with some worms not long ago. She... excuse me. She's lucky it wasn't that ogre that's been roaming around. It took all of Rumbald's pigs the other day. Did you hear? But don't get him started. He's still sore about the subject. And once you get him wound up about that ogre and his pigs, he just won't stop talking. What's been going on in Deerford? Oh, we're a quiet little town. Not much happens here. Especially not since the legacy hit. People realized they couldn't have babies and just stopped trying altogether. And that takes a lot of excitement out of the day-to-day, if you can believe it. I can kind of understand. Show me what you have for sale. Oh, what is this item? Nice pike. Not any use to me. Oh. Not sure this weapon, enchanted two-handed sword, might be good for Pelagina. Fine weapons. Angulo's Gambison. Nothing really Boots of Zealous Command. Nothing really that great here. Voice of the Mountaintop. We could actually use another rope and pry bar. And hammer and chisel. We used them all up when I was out last. Oh no, you have one. Ader has one, rope and grappling hook, but I used all of mine up. You can actually, yeah, I saw this Unforgiven, and you can actually buy the pig. We don't need it. You can also buy this rapier that Ader has as extra. Don't need it, don't need it, don't need it. Torch, don't need it. Lockpick. Could always use more lockpicks. Okay. Sounds good. I'll look at Pallegina's sword now. Well, we've looked over the sword. It wasn't as good as what she currently has. We enchanted it ourselves. Okay then, let's go out. Let's go down below the town or the village and see about those cultists.